My brand and business story, how it all started, how did I find myself in the real estate sector, how did I find myself as a real estate practitioner. Yeah, I can tell you the story without going to the background where it started from. Yeah, some years ago, that was like 1999. Yes. Then while I was living in the place I grew up, which is Warri Delta State, something happened. Something tragic happened. And the house we were living in with my family got burnt. It was during the Warri crisis, tribal crisis. I know some of you would have been aware of the tribal crisis that took place within that period of time. So I and my family were part of the victims. We were victims of that incident that happened. And the house we were living in at that time got burned down. Then I just entered into secondary school. I was just in GS1. I just gained admission into high school. So just imagine at that age having to go through that, from living in a spacious house. The house we were living in, then the corridor was this U-shaped corridor, quite spacious. You can even host the party there, and it's quite big. The sitting room was massive, the rooms were big, and having all those things, we don't even need to go out. The kids don't need to go out to play because we have everything like within us. Except maybe we're going to school or we're going to church. So having such comfort and overnight got burnt down as a result of crisis. We moved to from having that abundance to living with other people. We also live with a relative because we didn't have a house of our own. We knew what it was like. Yeah, the people, they were so generous and we're so grateful to God for them. They were able to keep us in their house. But there's nothing like owning your own. Your own, when you get to your house, you're free to put things where you want to put them. The space is large. You put the keys in the eye of the door, you go in and you relax. You can even decide to go to the pot like 2 3 times. Nothing is stopping you. So moving from such abundance, such freedom, to having to keep your things so you will not annoy them, because in your mind you are inconveniencing people and all that. So moving from there, we had to move to a camp, which was a larger, a bigger space. Then there was a camp where victims of the crisis, most victims had to move to, so we moved there. So the house we got there is still those houses that were like abandoned or rehabilitated. So from there we started making it conducive for us to live in. So just imagine, we had to start putting the toilet seats in the house. We had to start putting curtains. We had amazing relatives, amazing church members. They came to our rescue. Some of them brought and donated chairs to us in the house. So we had chairs, people donated chairs to us, chairs they were not using. So having in abundance, we had to go to the market. We had to start buying things like spoons, plates from the scratch, pots to start cooking. So the experience was traumatizing. It was a whole lot. But one thing, we were grateful to God that we lost our properties, we lost the house we were living in, but we did not lose our lives. So we remain grateful to God that we were all complete and none of us died in that accident, that crisis that we saw. So from having being in abundance, having everything, and not to now going to not having a home to call your own, it was really, really, really bad. That was the first experience. The second experience I had with housing was when I moved to Lagos. I moved to Lagos after my schooling, my university days. I moved to stay with my elder sister. And the house we were living in, there was a time there was flooding in Lagos. And we were in the house. And that fateful day, within a split of a few seconds, the water got up to our knees. We started shouting. We had to start moving things because of the flood. So we were in the house, but the water in the house was up to our knees because of bad drainage system. So we had to experience that. We had to move our properties. Even my brother then, his room was locked. When we had to break in, we saw his laptop floating in the water. So we had to move our things upstairs to someone else's house upstairs. We were like homeless for the second time. The first was fire, the second was water. flooding. So those situations, I saw what it feels like to not have a house. I saw what it feels like to be homeless. I saw what it feels like to not be secure, not being in a secure environment. And when a friend of mine told me about how she was helping people own their own houses, how she was helping people secure properties, landed properties, land, houses, and nobody had to tell me that, Monica, this is what you ought to be doing, helping people to secure their own houses, helping people to secure their own homes. So nobody told me, and that kind of feeling is when you feel you want to do something, or you're given an opportunity and you don't even need to go and say, let me think about it. You already know that this is it. And so that was it for me. And so when the opportunity came to help people own their own homes, own their own houses, I jumped at it. And that's where I am today. So that's how I got involved in the real estate sector, the real estate industry, to help people own their own homes, to have their dream of owning their own homes, make it was a reality for them. So far I've helped lots of my clients to own properties, both land and houses. And it's not a finished process, it's a continuous process. And I go about helping more people to own that, because I know what it feels like to be homeless. I know what it feels like to be out of that protection is not there. I know what it feels like to be scared just because you don't have a place to call your own home. And that's basically my business story.